Alrighty, so it's looking like we are getting good to go. Just making sure 100% I have the green light. Yeah, that Final Fantasy 1 PSP run, absolutely amazing run. If you guys haven't tried that yourself and you love Final Fantasy, I recommend giving it a try.
All right, yeah, I think you're all set to go, Strizer.
Alright, thank you very much. So, I'll just say very quickly, I am Strizer86. Thank you everyone for joining me this morning. It's probably the earliest I've gotten up for a speedrun, but definitely worth it. Thanks to Handheld Heroes for having me and featuring the run. We're going to have lots of time to kind of explain what's going on as we go, so we'll basically get right into it. So, Aria of Sorrow is the third Game Boy Advance Castlevania game. It's the first of two to have the Soul system, and in terms of Castlevania, it's actually my favorite. I started running 100%, I would say probably 6 months after I started running Aria in general. It's something that was kind of thought to be a TAS-only category before we started realizing that soul manipulations were a thing. So, if you've ever seen the any percent no 0 HP route, you're going to see a lot of similarities in the starting, and then we're going to branch off from there. I actually learned to run any percent for the sake of routing 100%. I'm generally a completionist, and just because I love the game so much, hey, nice freebie. Just because I love the game so much, I wanted a chance to show more of it off, essentially. Something you're going to see me doing a lot is suspending the game like that for the sake of resetting RNG. And that's the first instance of it that you'll see. So, the creaking skull manipulation was not discovered by myself. I apologize, it escapes me at the moment who actually figured it out. But it was one of the earliest RNG manipulations or soul manipulations that was found. I kind of just duplicated the premise over and over again, and then, well, probably 80 plus times in general. I've managed to manipulate almost every soul in the game. I'm kind of at the point where there's only one soul that is really impactful that I can't manipulate. First goal is really going to be getting to Graham, getting the Black Panther soul for the sake of moving around faster. Second goal is then going to be getting the Soul Eater ring, which we're going to use kind of an extended form of the shop glitch to generate extra money. And then we'll be collecting souls afterwards. Now 100%, I should clarify as well, does touch on all of the in-game map. So we are going to be visiting every room, every secret room essentially, making sure I'm touching on absolutely every corner. So you're probably going to see me tucking into a few corners and taking some safeties just to make sure the map actually registers, because the game has a little bit of an issue with the map registration. I've actually suspended the game in a room before, and at the end of the run it didn't register that I was even in that room despite the fact that I suspended it. In terms of the soul system, for those that have not played Aria or are fairly new to it, essentially there's three different colors of souls. There's red, blue, and yellow, each having a different property. Red being your bullet soul, which is kind of like your projectiles for the most part. Your blue souls are activated using your R trigger. And your yellow souls are kind of like your passive souls. So what I just did there is the first instance of a zip in the game. There's two different ways that we zip. We zip using enemies to push us into the wall, and we also zip using the giant bat soul. The bat soul is a little bit more convenient because it allows you to push yourself into the wall regardless of where you are, where the enemies obviously have to be placed appropriately. So basically, at the moment, this has been completely in line with the any percent no 0 HP glitch. You will be seeing pretty much every glitch that Aria has to offer with the exception of 0 HP. That being said, I have recently routed 0 HP into this category. It will roughly save me about 3 minutes overall, but it's not marathon safe in my opinion. It's a 4-frame window trick followed by a frame perfect trick, and it's a long setup, so we're not going to be putting anybody through that today, but that's kind of what the future of the run holds. That's the third route that I've laid out for it. So touching back on the soul manipulations themselves, before I sat down and started really kind of banging this out, I was doing it just based on luck, which of course is not productive. It doesn't make for an entertaining run. There's no consistency. So when I started routing and running this category before the soul manipulations, it was like 3 hours for my first attempt, and then after I got it down a little bit, it was like 2 hours and 13 minutes. And it felt like I was banging my head against the wall. I'm like, okay, I need something. Something's got to give to make this more consistent. Something's got to give in terms of having a new tool that I can use. And that's kind of when the manipulation for the Creaking Skull was found. And I thought, well, if we can do it with Creaking Skull, why can't we do it with everything else? There's tons of great runners in the Aria community. I will say this right off the bat: if anyone is interested in learning about Aria or learning any of the runs, join the Discord because it's amazing. They're extremely supportive, and shoutouts to everyone that's helped me, in terms of developing the run. Despite the fact that nobody else has taken it on as of yet, everyone has been extremely supportive in the run itself, in growing the category. They've been great at throwing suggestions at me, saying, you know what, have you thought of this? Have you tried that? So yeah, definitely check it out if you're interested. So I basically took that premise and I just applied it across multiple different souls. How the RNG is manipulated, as I mentioned earlier, we suspend the game to reset the RNG value to a known place, and then different things affect the RNG value differently. So slashing your sword, for example, doing a backdash, or basically in terms of the backdash, it's the dust, so anything that causes the particle effect, and smashing your head off the ceiling, things like that. So it kind of just became a pattern of what can I do, how can I apply these different techniques to move the RNG where I need it to be for every monster. Now, a couple things come into play. Your luck does come into play just a little bit, because depending on your luck, it doesn't really increase the chance of a soul drop, but it moves the RNG values in which the soul would drop. So something I'm going to be doing throughout the duration of the run is I'm actually going to be closely monitoring my level, killing certain enemies, and just making sure my experience is at a certain point when I reach certain areas. So coming up is the shop glitch. Shop glitch has many interesting functions, one of which is generating tons of potions, and you can also use it to generate tons of money. You can do other interesting things above and beyond that, but essentially the premise is you sell down to 2 items, press R, and yeah, you can sell a whole bunch of different things. Not sure what I just did there, sorry. There we go. Okay. I'm not sure why it's giving me that option. Usually I would go up and I would sell his mustache, his eyebrows, one above that, and I have like a certain series of slots, so I'm kind of confused as to why it's deciding I can't sell those slots, but irregardless, I still have methods of getting money. Just curious. It's really strange. Well, you guys wanted some never happened befores? That was a never happened before. 120, so I'm fine, regardless. It's easy to work out, and yeah, we used to just sell a couple things, and then I realized, hey, I can do the same thing over and over again, and we can just get tons of cash out of it. His eyebrows are a pricey item. We are definitely selling his face. His face and above and beyond. So that trick makes any percent very friendly for new runners. It only, to do it and give yourself enough potions for the end of the run, it really only takes about 25-30 seconds. So for that category, it's great because it makes it friendly for new runners, but at the same time, if you are trying to shave off those extra seconds and you cut out shop glitch, which you do eventually. Ah, yes, there's Error. Error has basically any explanation, or I guess the best explanation of shop glitch out of anybody that I know. He's also the one that made the zip tutorial as well, so same thing, there's lots of resources if you did want to check it out. Back to the run itself, you're not supposed to actually be able to make that jump. You're supposed to equip a soul that allows you to walk on water. But the way that your mechanics work, I guess we'll say, as you're moving left and right when you're jumping, it kind of pulls your hitbox up a little bit. So what you saw me do there is I just actually clipped like around the corner and onto that platform, despite the fact that we're not supposed to be in the floating garden. This is going to be the second and last instant where I use an enemy to zip through to an area. I'm going to take it safe into that. Yeah, the shop glitch does affect the X and Y coordinates, that's why you see me get bumped around like that. It can do some strange things for sure. I'm gonna play that safe just because I got punched. So this is kind of why the shop glitch is really kind of key, especially if you're doing any percent. Having all of those potions, it's just invaluable. Another good thing to mention in Aria is a lot of the stats are not necessarily based on your level, but based on your equipment. So again, we're going to kind of make it a small priority to get the best sword in the game because it is going to add quite a bit to my stats and is going to be extremely useful against a lot of enemies because it has the holy element. So we're on our way right now to get the giant bat soul. That will allow us to zip through any wall that we want, and we don't have to worry about enemies to get us where we need to go. I'll kind of let you guys know when we see that first little diversion from the any percent route. It's very slight, but it does make a difference for sure. Yes, normal carrying limit, thank you Error. Normal carrying limit is 9, so being able to carry hundreds of anything is a little bit outside the normal, we'll say. So where stats are kind of more so based on the equipment, this is why we're able to skip to bosses pretty early and not worry about level. Oh, that was mean. Exactly, who cares for normal limits? I'm just gonna pay attention to the end of the fight. So with the giant bat soul, we basically now have the freedom to zip anywhere you want. That being said, it's very easy to soft lock using zips. The way that the rooms are arranged within the game are not connected as you visually see them, meaning that when you walk out of the door like I just did into the room with the elevator, it's not necessary that those two rooms are actually next to each other in the memory. So that's kind of where zipping comes into play. So we have to zip in particular areas. Someone jump, please. We have to zip in particular areas that we know lead to other areas. Now the way that zip mechanics work once you're in the wall is in bat form, you always travel the opposite direction of the direction that you're holding, meaning left or right. And then human form, you always zip upwards. Now, we abuse this. I just realized I was going to safety save and I didn't. I just want to make sure I hit that because I don't think I safety saved. So what I use there is the premise of I'm in bat form, and then when I sleep the game, I come back where I had caused the game to suspend. Being that I entered the room in a wall, that's why I started in a wall, and because I'm in human form, that's why I zip upwards, and I transform into the bat along the way to send myself back through the wall at that particular spot. So to give you an example of manipulation, that's why I did the slash prior, that's why I did the backdash, and I killed him in a certain number of hits. So you're going to see a lot of that. A lot of manipulations are crafted around those same concepts. There's a few that have specific executions, there's a few that are frame perfect, but are actually easier than it sounds because I've found consistent setups. And there's one triple frame perfect manipulation that I came up with recently, which again sounds more difficult than it is just based on how the setup works. The thing I've started to come up with more recently to help kind of speed the run along and make it more entertaining to watch is multi-manipulations. So where you catch the soul on the screen, because that particle effect affects the RNG, where you catch the soul on the screen does impact the RNG value. So I've started to string together multiple souls by making sure I catch them in a specific location and killing them in a certain spot as well. And then to add on to that, where your luck does come into play, I've actually started toying around with changing my equipment during manipulations. So the one small difference from the any percent run is I actually touched on this warp room, which any percent doesn't normally do, but I use it as a way to get back to this section to continue my routing. Here you're going to see me kill just enough to reach level 19 before the succubus manipulation. My foot keeps wanting to stomp to split, but I have to remind myself I'm not running with splits. So the premise, I guess, in terms of why I'm collecting the souls that I am at the moment, I should explain. So in Area of Sorrow, the way that the story goes is Soma is brought into the Eclipse, and we're under the impression through the majority of the game that Graham is destined to be Dracula. He thinks he's destined to be Dracula, he's in the castle, he's all hyped up. Turns out he's not. Soma is, spoiler, Soma is destined to become the vessel of Dracula. So that's why I'm collecting the souls that I am. The Flame Demon, the Giant Bat, and the Succubus Soul, i.e. all qualities of Dracula, allow you to bypass the bad ending, we call it. Essentially, if you didn't have the correct souls equipped, the game would end here. Now, it does indicate this. There are 3 items that tell you which souls, and they're actually different colored books. The books match the soul colors. So, I mean, the game lays it out to you pretty easily, saying, you know, this is what you should do, and this is what you're trying to do. So I'm just going to focus on my fight for a second. Something I should mention as well, and for those of you that may be wondering, I'm jumping excessively when I'm attacking. The reason for that is... Tunic. The reason for that is simply When Soma is planted on the ground, his recovery time from an attack is a lot longer than when you jump. So when you jump, you have a very small window of attack time where you can attack again afterwards. If you're standing on the ground, you're going to get your feet planted. It's going to take extra time. Aria has very, very tight controls, and that's one of the things that I love about the game. And one of the things that kind of, I guess, set it apart for me. A lot of people love Symphony. Symphony is an amazing game. It laid some very great groundwork. I feel like this has a lot in common with Symphony in terms of the overall theme, etc., etc. Hey, Dead. So now we're fighting Death. Fighting Death unlocks extra items in the shop, which does include the Soul Eater Ring. So the Soul Eater Ring is an item that gives you essentially twice the chance of a soul drop. It's not technically required. I mean, I could route it out on the basis that I could still manipulate every soul. It would just be basically twice as hard to manipulate every soul without the Soul Eater Ring. So you will see me getting it just for the sake of... And frankly, it's not very far out of the way, and because I can glitch money, it doesn't take me any time to farm money. Why would I not? Just make it easier on myself. So the Black Panther Soul, as you can see, allows me to move pretty fast. That's another reason to prioritize beating Graham. It's going to make traversing the 100% of the map a lot easier and a lot faster. Oh, definitely. I'm going to be making regular checks along the way, and before I enter the Chaos area, just for marathon safety, I'm going to check out the enemy guide to make sure I've touched on all the souls I would normally have. The worst thing that you can do when you're playing this route, or playing this category, is to forget a map piece or to forget a soul. Soul is definitely more costly than a map piece, but they both do have a significant impact. I had a run a couple nights ago that I was 2 minutes ahead and coming right to the end, and I lost it because I forgot to touch on one square of the map. But thankfully I actually PB'd last night, so I can't complain. I PB'd while I was practicing. This is the first kind of route revision, if you will. I used to get the Soul Eater Ring here, and then I would do the whole section up here at a later time. The reason I'm doing this now is there is a soul that reduces the amount of gold it costs for items. So because it makes the soul ring 60,000 gold cheaper, I decided to route this in. I got free Siren, so I didn't need to manipulate it there. Here's going to be the first opportunity for me to demonstrate a multiple soul manipulation, so I'm probably going to be quiet for a second, just to make sure. Okay, so I got 3 of 4. I'm not going to be able to get the last one, but the thing about this category is I've got backups. I've got backups for my backups. So that had the potential to be a quad, with the last soul being the wood golem, but I needed the soul from the ghost dancer to travel in a certain way, and I needed to catch it in a certain spot. Thank you, appreciate the luck. Ooh. So there's my backup for the wood golem. Cost me all of 6 seconds realistically. Every time you suspend the game, it's going to cost you about 6 to 7 seconds. Also, I will say, and I apologize in advance, that my estimate is probably a little high at this point. I did want to be cautious, but at the same time, I have shaved some time off since I submitted. the real kicker in terms of all of these manipulations is the one soul that eludes me is the last soul, which we will touch on when we get there. Also, shout out to what is VB's favorite manipulation last time I checked, because who doesn't want to punch the worm? I think he was just excited that I found some excuse to use Balor. Oh, silly man. So freebies used to be an amazing thing, like I was happy for them all the time. Now with the multi-manipulations, I actually prevent myself from getting certain souls, like I do almost anti-manipulations in places, because some souls are easier to piggyback off another soul at this point, and I don't want to lose that opportunity. Why would I not? So I just basically just want to make sure. There we go. Alright, so we have the Soul Eater ring. I always check the map on this room because this room has a habit of trolling me. Yes, lots of things do rotate the RNG. So above and beyond Soma, some enemies rotate the RNG just being on screen. Some of them rotate the RNG based on the actions that they're doing, whether it be an attack, things like that. So above and beyond Soma, there's a lot of things that do impact it. Sometimes it's the environment. Oop. Extra slide. Yeah, in terms of determining the RNG, oh, poison. Basically, it was sitting down with Ramwatch and going through the motions of testing out every soul and saying, okay, how can I kind of get it where it needs to go? I did it without prior knowledge of what values were needed. I more so, again, just went with the guess and test method. Okay, 259 is pretty standard. Oh. So that was me attacking too fast. I need to wait for him to slide in. I'm gonna try another double here. No. I did equip the soul ring. I know I did. Wow. Okay, I'm going to actually focus for a moment. That level up's probably going to screw up my double, but that's okay. I do have a backup. Like I said, it's always about having backups, and in this case, backups for your backups. So in this case, my backup for this is right here. Very interesting fact as well, and I don't know why this impacts things, as it doesn't actually affect the RNG value itself. Whether or not you have full MP when you hit a candle impacts the soul drop, and I've not been able to figure out why, because it doesn't change the RNG value based on whether or not money drops or whether or not a heart drops. So I can't figure out for the life of me why that is the case, but it is the case. So in some cases you'll see me when I'm setting up a manipulation, I'll use like a mind up potion to set myself back to full MP, and that's because I'm going to be hitting a candle. 5, 6, 7, 8. I just need to be careful with Legion. Legion is the only missable soul in the game, so I'm actually going to take it super safe. If you defeat Legion without defeating all 4 of its outside pieces, you miss the soul, and you don't have another chance to get it. But I know I provided myself a huge window there, but I just wanted to be super safe. In terms of the RNG manipulations themselves, it is something that I did want to make available to everyone. I have tutorials on pretty much every manipulation. that I've come up with. I've got a text guide which is now 4 pages long, but it lays out kind of all of the manipulations. Shout out to my first manipulation, by the way. That was the first one that I found. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So Ripper is one of the enemies that changes the RNG every frame. So there's not really a manipulation that I can come up with for Ripper at the moment. I could probably use Chrono Mage, but I don't have Chrono Mage at this point in the route. Chrono Mage is going to come in very handy because he will stop the RNG rotation caused by some enemies, which is extremely handy. There are some that you can't stop it, so again, that's where the frame perfect manipulations come in, but it's easier than it sounds just based on the fact that I have consistent setups for them, and you'll kind of see as we go along. Alright, I need to remember to get Fish Head. It's pretty rare that I don't get Fish Head there. So now you see we are revisiting Arena. This is where you're going to see me start to kill a few more enemies, not necessarily just for the soul, but for the actual experience as well. These beam skeletons give a lot of experience, and where my luck needs to be at a certain level for all of the manipulations to work, you're going to see me gaining some levels. And also the final guard manipulation level, final guard manipulation later requires me to be level 32. Don't need that. So kind of thinking in the long term as well. Yeah, I did mess that up. Nice. Alright, so that's a fairly new double that I've come up with. So now we're kind of in cleanup mode. It's getting the souls as fast as we can, touching on all the map pieces, and prioritizing everything that we missed. I was a little bit worried about that one. That one's pretty particular in terms of the timing, but it's one of those things that you just kind of have to get a feel for. It's a decent freebie. Doesn't save a lot of time, but like I said, every freebie saves me about 6 seconds. Again, I'm still going to kill these guys, more so just for the level than anything. Medusa is always a great freebie because it saves about 60 seconds. Or sorry, not 60 seconds, 30 seconds. You're probably going to see me take a little bit of time to kill a few extra ones just in the hopes. So the soul that I just equipped to the yellow slot now is extremely useful. It gives you a stat boost based on how much HP you're missing. So it's going to be the source of doing lots of extra damage and kind of, we'll say, moderating my damage output for the sake of doing manipulations properly, because it also relies on how many hits it takes to kill enemies. You're going to see that come into play when I get to the final guard and a few other souls like that. Yeah, Sherman's Ring. Shout out to the Sherman's Ring. So I'm level 28 now. I'm basically looking to hit level 29 just as I'm exiting Arena, and then my levels will be kind of on par with where I need to be. That's why you see me killing the extra beam skeletons, despite the fact that I already got the soul. They're really quick. They're good experience. So I figure I'm on the way out. I might as well. Hey, you guys didn't know Sherman down at the docks? Okay, there's level 29, and that's what I'm looking for. One thing I do love about this category as well is the movement. Once you get the Black Panther Soul and you have the ability to do the high jump, the movement itself is just a blast. And put myself in the right position. So once again, just setting up the double, and depending on where I caught the soul, it was important. And we're done with that section. I'm not going to be gaining too many more levels along the way. Typically I'll end in the low 30s. Depends on how nice Shadow Knight's going to be. I guess touching back on the story, because I did mention there were multiple endings. The bad ending is basically when you kill Graham without the 3 souls equipped. Nice. That triple can be a little finicky. Once you basically do it with the certain 3 souls equipped, it comes to light that Soma is meant to be Dracula, and he's going to essentially try and fight the chaos within him. He's going to try and control it and not be consumed by it, etc, etc, etc. So we're on our way, supposedly, to the chaos area to destroy the chaos that is within Soma. We're going to be touching on all of the extra places that we skipped over earlier, but in very large contrast, I guess, the any percent run with no 0 HP glitch for this game is, world record is 13 minutes 22, I think it is. So, you know, 13, 14 minutes, depending. And this is obviously a lot longer, so you're going to see a lot of areas you wouldn't normally see in other categories. You're going to see a lot more enemies you wouldn't normally see. Upcoming for Killer Doll is going to be the first instance where you're going to see me take off my equipped armor just for the sake of affecting my luck, because having Dracula's tunic on does give you extra luck. And of course, luck affects those RNG values. Which one? There is definitely a website for speedrunning communities. It depends probably on what you're looking to run. Speedrun.com is the best place to start. Ooh. Menus, please. But Aria has a great community. You know, like I said, if you're looking, join the Discord. Overall, definitely speedrun.com though. A lot of the speedrunning communities are great because they're always willing to help, and you know, their interest is kind of growing the game, having the game picked up by more individuals. Same thing goes for Aria. You know, I don't think I've ever really seen anything in, hold on, Minotaur. I don't think I've really seen any new runner come into the Discord and not be greeted with a very warm welcome. Yeah, what you're seeing is final equipment for the game. I'm not going to be changing equipment at all. Oh, yeah, I already got Flea Man. I don't need to worry about that. Sorry, I'm just trying to go over my soul checklist. Since I don't really have a way of tracking it, I'm just trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything that I should have gotten. I agree. Everyone should play Castlevania games. I highly recommend it. Some more than others, but No, the Minotaur I accidentally got for free. I do have a manipulation for Minotaur, but that just happened to be a free drop. So what I did is, normally I would do the Waiter Skeleton manipulation off of the Minotaur. And thankfully I got a free Waiter Skeleton too. Oh, I forgot to do the Student Witch. That's okay. Student Witch is usually pretty friendly. So I have a follow-up manipulation that I do with Student Witch. I've just been so used to getting it for free recently, I didn't consider doing it. There we go. So yes, I do run other categories as well. There's technically 9 categories on the Aria leaderboard, and I'm the only one to my knowledge that's done all 9 of them. I have looked more into the DS-Vanias. I think with the DS-Vanias, it's going to be a lot easier if I get myself an actual DS capture card. Because emulating the DS is just not that great, but I would not be opposed to looking into running Order of Ecclesia. I've done a little bit of running of Harmony of Dissonance, maximum categories. By the way, Harmony of Dissonance, maximum all bosses is coming up next with VB. That will be a good time, so be sure to stick around for that. No Melon for shame. Melon? No, I have not done Melon percent. Come on, I did no equipment percent. I wanted to make it a little more interesting, so I decided one day that I would just run Aria with absolutely no equipment. I got it down to sub 30 minutes the other day. The rules for no equipment simply being when you start the game, unequip your knife and casual clothes and do not equip anything for the duration of the whole game. So there's lots of punching. Which, who doesn't want to see Soma go all Kung Fu Fighter? Yes, Rom Scout is definitely another major runner. Oh, I didn't want the Valkyrie, but okay. Valkyrie is the start of a triple that was just coming up, so I'm not a fan of casually getting that soul there. That's actually one of those freebies that I would almost rather not get. But again, backups, we can work around. Capture card for a DS is about $150 or $200. I've just heard mixed things about kind of how well they work over a long time, we'll say. I'm just kind of worried about that. So this is probably going to be a little bit strange. You're going to see me attempt the same setup for 2 soul manipulations. Now, when an enemy is dying, that animation does rotate the RNG values. Thankfully, I figured out that if you just take off Dracula's tunic, you can control which one of the 2 that you'll get there. Which is actually a fairly new revelation. I used to just try and do it over and over again and hope for one over the other, and it was not productive. And then one day I took off Dracula's tunic, and it's like you get Curly every time you take off Dracula's tunic. And if you do it right, you get the Kyoma Demon every time that you are wearing the tunic. And I'm like, sweet. I have put a little bit of time into Portrait of Ruin. That's the only DS-Vania that I've run at the moment, but it's a lot of fun. So all of the save and quit is for the sake of resetting the RNG value to manipulate the souls. I would say we're easily over 50% done at this point. You know, it really goes back to map cleanup and just making sure I try and hit all my key points. Sadly, one of the best soundtracks in the game, and for those of you that don't know which one I'm talking about, we'll have that discussion when we get there. We're going to hear it very briefly, which is a little bit disappointing, but we'll only get to hear it for a moment, and you'll see why. And someone in chat already knows why, but Forger of Ruin is epic, and I loved the actual run itself. The out of bounds tech was kind of sweet in comparison to Aria. Like, it's a very different style of out of bounds, so it was lots of fun to learn. And the free partner double jump, which allows you to get a quad jump later, oh, so fun to exploit. This is one of the opportunities where Chrono Mage comes in handy, so whenever he moves, he changes the RNG value, so freeze it off the screen, and you're good to go. Coming up to the one manipulation shortly, and I'm trying not to curse myself by mentioning it, but there's one manipulation coming up shortly, which is, we'll call it finicky, and I can't explain why, because I can't get it to do what happens from time to time in the game with the emulator. Like, I can't recreate the issue, if you will, to troubleshoot it in an emulator. But we're gonna see what happens. And if I need to go into detail about what's going on, I will certainly do so. But I'm kind of hoping that I don't. I do need to be level 32 though. It's a really neat fact. Killing the red minotaurs using Killer Mantle takes one hit, gives you 1,000 experience, extremely fast to level up, especially if you're lower leveled. So if you're ever casual playing and you want a good way to level up, I recommend just whacking a whole bunch of minotaurs with the mantle, like that. Yeah, I'm pretty much done all the backtracking. There's not really going to be any instance of backtracking at the moment. Okay, so I need to get my HP value to a certain range. That should work. So this is one manipulation that's a little finicky. We're going to see how it goes. This is technically frame perfect. And he was nice. Okay, we're good. That's really the only thing I was worried about going wrong, to be honest. It looks scary. It's not as scary as it looks. So to explain what just went on there, I basically used the blue soul because of its hitbox to get consistent hits on him every time, and you only see me walking forward when I can bonk into his shield at a consistent time as well. The reasoning for that is because it has to be frame perfect. That ensures I have that same frame perfect setup and I'm hitting him at the same time every shot. So that was a concept I came up with a little bit later into crafting the run. For a long time it was... Oops, that's gonna kind of ruin it, but sure. For a long time it was thought that the guard armors were going to be impossible to manipulate, so it's kind of fun actually to have that happen. Let's use that one. Someone say JoJo. That's another neat thing as well, is you're going to see a lot of souls showcased or utilized in this run that you wouldn't normally see in any other run. And that's kind of where that outside the box thinking came in. It was, how can I utilize these tools in a way that's going to produce a different result. Map safety check. Sit, please. Thank you. So really, this is going to be the last area that you're going to see me touch on that I've already visited. Well, I guess that's not true. There's also the area where the Great Armor was down at the start. Once again, this is me just modifying my HP values to ensure that I get the right amount of damage. A soul is considered to be any one of the red, yellow, or blue, as well as gray souls. So there's a fairly new double. Still gonna hope for that free Medusa. Because, hey, it's 30 seconds. Who doesn't want to save 30 seconds? Medusa is another one of those souls that rotates the RNG every frame, so it was a matter of what can I do to consistently kill a Medusa, given that the RNG is going to be changing every frame. And you guys will see it if I don't happen to get the soul. If I do, I'll kind of explain what it would be. There's over 100 souls. The only enemies that don't have souls in this game are Julius, Graham, and Chaos. Also, you guys will get a little treat shortly. It has to do with cutscene. I'm not going to mention it yet, but I will point it out when we get there. So just for the sake of map completion, we're going to come up in this corner, and we're going to head back down. Try real hard for that free Medusa soul though. Can take a few extra squiggles just to see if I can hit one. Graham is a soulless person. The great debate I've always had is, if Graham is not actually Dracula, then how did all of that happen? How did he obtain the powers to transform and do what he did? And someone said to me, it's the power of the castle impacting him, which, hey, I could buy that. It's better than any answer I've heard. So for the Medusa setup, basically here's our 30-second manipulation. It's butting up against this wall, ensuring that every Medusa is going to spawn the same every time, and I can call it which one's gonna actually drop it. It's gonna be the next one. Fun little setup. Big time waste, unfortunately, but fun little setup. He was apparently born the same day Dracula died. I guess we could factor that into it as well. Small residual power. So it's funny to put this in perspective, because my upcoming Manticore split, I would normally split when I defeat the Manticore, used to be more than an hour and a half. So I find it funny now that the whole run is less than what my Manticore split used to be. It's the only in-game explanation. You're not wrong. It is the only in-game explanation. So, the only souls I haven't really manipulated that, frankly, I guess the only souls I haven't manipulated are ones that I don't care about, with the exception of the Shadow Knight at the very end, which I haven't been able to manipulate. Because most of these souls drop easy enough, I just haven't put any time or focus. Also, shout out to Graham, who we've already killed, but hey, there he is. I think we just got haunted, guys. Was that a ghost? I've missed a map piece there a couple times recently, so I don't want to have that happen. So again, ghosts are one of those ones that change the RNG every frame, so freeze them as soon as they show up, you're good to go. Is it better than Symphony of the Night? In my opinion, yes. It has a lot of things in common with Symphony of the Night, and I do love Symphony, because like I mentioned earlier, it laid a lot of really important groundwork in terms of the series and the style. That being said, because the controls are just tighter, in my opinion, I like Aria better. I have spent a little bit of time running Symphony, and when I say a little, I mean a very, very little bit. But it's an amazing game itself, and I mean, obviously this game takes a lot of influence from that. Ultimately, only you can decide which one you like best. So another incident of cleanup. You're going to see me going through here, which I've already visited. Pretty quick, just ripping through. We're honestly almost at the point where we're going to be hitting the Chaos Realm soon. And I am going to, and somebody in chat, I don't even care. If I forget, somebody shout at me and remind me to double check my souls before I go in the Chaos area. Please and thank you. Well, not only the controls in terms of the Black Panther, but just how tight the controls are overall. Like the fact that you can do very slight jumps the way that you do, and the fact that it's so reactive. I'd like to spend more time with Dawn, but unfortunately, I don't have the means to capture it on a DS at the moment. It's just not practical, but it is something that I would like to do in future. I've considered routing 100% all souls for Dawn, but I'd need a comfortable way to play it first. I didn't get fish head, no. Thank you for the reminder. Oh, I moved too fast. Well then, try that again. Wait a minute, that's not what it is. Try this again. Didn't get Gargoyle yet, but I will remember to get it. Gargoyle has plagued me in the recent times. Roly-poly fish heads. Not ideal taking that, but because I got cursed. And that's the thing, is in Dawn, the soul system works a little bit differently, so I don't know how that would necessarily convert to 100% souls, but it's something that I do want to look into at some point. I'm trying to think of how I'm actually going to lower my HP for the next section. I did get a skeleton soul. Although it's funny that you mentioned that. There has been times where I've missed the skeleton soul because I just presumed that I was going to get it. And change. I'm also trying to watch my experience because I want to make sure that I don't accidentally level up while I'm mid multi-manipulation. Wow, I didn't do enough damage. Okay. It's an issue I can solve pretty easily, but actually one more. Try this again. So that's an incident where not having the right amount of HP would impact the manipulation. I am so excited for the Castlevania show. I'm going to fully admit I haven't checked it out as of yet, but it is definitely on my to-do list. So, catching that soul at a very particular place. This is the only follow-up soul that I don't actually have a standalone for, so I need to make sure I don't miss that. Also, 983. I'm trying to think of how much Gargoyle gives me off the top of my head. Again, don't want to level up. Thank you, and shout out to Joker for the reminder to get Gargoyle, just because I know it's not been on the top of my mind recently. He's seen me forget it a couple times, I think, during practice. And that's the thing, is where Netflix Castlevania is only 4 episodes, I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, should I maybe wait until the other episodes come out? Because I know it got signed on for another 8 episodes, I think it is. We are almost there, guys. So upcoming is going to be the Man-Eater manipulation. The Man-Eater manipulation is the triple frame perfect manipulation I was talking about earlier. Once I get it done, I'll explain how it's done. It's just going to be something I focus on for a moment because I want to make sure I get it. There we go. Okay, so to explain what just happened there, the Man-Eater consists of 3 different eyes, which all independently have their own HP limits and their own hitboxes. And the issue that you run into, or at least that I was running into when I was looking for a manipulation, is how do I kill all 3 of these hitboxes at the exact same time? And they cause the RNG to actually rotate every frame independently. So it's like, okay, I not only have to do it all on the same frame, but I can't let any of them move. Oops, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. So swinging the axe backwards allows you to hit the first eyeball with the first portion of that swing, second eyeball when it comes back around, and then third eyeball you need to swing it just shortly afterwards. Yeah, I figured that may happen. I think I killed him a little bit too soon, was it? To double check. Oh. Realize it's not going to work if I don't have MP. Shout out to the little punchy guy. So, let's talk about Skyfish for a moment. Skyfish is supposed to be the highest drop rate in the game. I will say very, very safely, I have lost runs to Skyfish. So with the Soul Ring, I think that the Skyfish has a 32 or 36% chance of dropping, I think it is. So 1 in 3, it shouldn't take me more than 3 tries. Even in a casual aspect with the Soul Eater Ring. You better believe I get trolled by Skyfish. Perfect example. Thank you, Xylo. You got it. Not terrible. I've had worse. Sweet. Free slime. Okay, still need to get Fish Head. Sky Troll, you got it. Good thing is we have a huge opportunity to get the Fish Head over here. Speaking of which, only a handful of souls left that we need to get. We do still get souls in the Chaos area, but it's only a few of them. Oh, Shadow Knight, let's not even. Yeah, Zombie, there's 2 different manipulations. There's the starting manipulation, if you want to call it a manipulation. It's more so just a frame perfect kill off the start. And then there's the actual manipulation, which would be if you miss that. We need Peeping Eye, Gladiator, Giant Skeleton, Stolas, Archdemon, or not, sorry, Archdemon, Demon Lord, Mimic, Triton, which is going to come up momentarily. So try for a freebie. Gorgon, Imp, where's somebody with the more you know rainbow? Man, when I PB'd last night, I lost a minute to Shadow Knight, and overall, compared to my gold split, I lost like over 2 minutes. 2.5 minutes, actually. So that run last night, if Shadow Knight had have cooperated, would have actually had potential for sub 115. You can't be disappointed because it was still a PB, but... My favorite part about 0 HP is you get the flying armor soul right there. So you come through the door, you haven't had flying armor the entire game, and you just smack that soul with the Black Panther through the wall. Ah, Red Crow too. I need Red Crow and Mandragora. Let's just say that there's lots of great 2D Metroid games and 3D Metroid games. Okay, there's Red Crow. Free Dead Warrior. Prime 4 is going to be my reason for buying a Switch. That's all I'm going to say. We don't talk about other M. We have to talk about it so we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. Sorry. Okay, yeah, that was right. Oh no, that wasn't though. Take two. There's no such thing as Other M. See, the strange thing about Other M was I only saw commercials the day before it came out. Those of you patiently awaiting the arrival of the Metroid 2 remake, you may want to check out AM2R. AM2R is tons of fun and very well done. I've actually recently started running AM2R myself. So shoutouts to the AM2R community for being amazing as well. Somebody that's a new runner to that game, they've been absolutely phenomenal in terms of helping me out with tips and things like that. It's almost time for the best music in the game. And of course, being the completionist that I am, you better believe I'm running AM2R 100%. Okay, we're gonna find out momentarily if I've happened to have a brain fart here and forget a map room. Sadly, my map check place percentage is at the very end, which I really should kind of set up some more checkpoints for myself along the way to check the map, but gonna see. I've been pretty diligent with all of my spots. The birds are not usually mean, but every once in a while they are. If you don't trust a game where the only purpose of getting power bombs is to get more power bombs, I would like to point out... Oops. I'd like to point out that... Where am I going and why? Metroid Zero Mission, there's no purpose for power bombs. The only purpose of power bombs in Zero Mission is to get more power bombs. Sweet freebie. Alright, we're coming up to the moment of truth. Ah, well, I see it immediately because it's on the map, but point in case. Okay, so I did miss touching on one room. It's not the end of the world, it's by a warp point. It was really easy to locate, so it's going to take me a moment to touch back on. This is why I should set up earlier safeties, but sure. Yes, you can stream AM2R on Twitch. Yes, again, it happens. Oops. I warped the wrong room. That's fine. At least it's a fast recovery. It's better than missing a soul. Which, by the way, I am still going to double check my soul list. Because we're not having that. What I'm looking for, essentially, when I hit the room that I just did, was I'm looking for it to say 99.1%, and I missed this corner right here. Which, again, not the end of the world. Alright, back on track. Let's make sure. I'm going to take a safety check here. Should be good. Two enemies that are not, or 4 enemies that are not listed are Julius, Chaos, Shadow Knight, and Demon Lord. Or sorry, also, what's it? Alistair. Sorry. Okay, are we all ready to queue up the best music. As soon as I kill a kicker skeleton, get ready for it. Best music. Oop. There's the 100% map. So, same kind of idea. Hi, Julius. Bye, Julius. I actually have to save and reset there. Because the game never acknowledges that you beat Julius, you don't have a way of actually sleeping the game. So I can't do any chaos area manipulations. And intentionally take some damage here. Get myself down to a certain HP level. Oop, not quite that low. Nice freebie. Yeah, shout out to Error for the idea to skip Julius, by the way. You're not wrong. Scare myself with a little low HP. Okay. I figured the level up may screw that up. There's one of two manipulations that work for Alistair, and it seems to vary, and I don't know why. But it's just one extra sword slash, and if one doesn't work, the other always works. So, level up aside, it's never more than 2 shots at trying to get that soul. Yeah, Julius is basically the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head that's weak to dark. Yep, we got the Man-Eater via the manipulation, so we're good there. Alright guys, we should be down to the final 2. Take some safety health. Everyone get ready for the mimic dance. See how nice Shadow Knight's gonna be. So, after all of these manipulations, after all of this time, we get to end the run with an actual RNG soul, which can be a troll. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna see how many levels I gain off of Shadow Knight before he actually decides to drop his soul. So what makes Shadow Knight hard to manipulate is a combination of things. The fact that he rotates the RNG every frame, similar to the other guard armors. More so, he has really high health. That was pretty friendly, actually. 100, we're good. Alright, let's go finish Chaos. No, unfortunately, due to the high HP and the fact that he rotates the RNG every frame, I haven't found a way to manipulate it. I can't do the similar thing that I did with the other guard armors, because it doesn't do enough damage, unfortunately. And he's weak to Holy, so that's another reason that the claim ends up doing so much damage. Yeah, Shadow was very cooperative. So we're coming up on time. It looks like it's going to be kind of a low 125 time loss due to the fact that I missed the room and had to double back. But and that is time. Yeah, low 125. And that is Area of Sorrow 100% All Souls. Yes, it was lots of trial and error. Basically just trying different combinations of movements, trying different combinations of attacks and whatnot to cause that soul to drop. It was just something I invested in a few months back, probably about 6 months ago. As soon as I got set up with Ram Watch, I was like just hungry to go through and see what I could manipulate. So I basically made it my mission for like 2 weeks just to find soul manipulations. So yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Again, thanks to Handheld Heroes for having me on and for allowing me to demonstrate the run. We've got tutorials put together if anyone's interested. Even if you're looking to run a different area category, again, join the Discord. It's a great community. It's tons of fun. It's a very, very fun speed game, and any percent no 0 HP is extremely beginner friendly with the shop glitch. So I highly recommend reaching out. Yeah, that's it for me, but upcoming we've got VB doing Harmony of Dissonance, All Bosses Maxim. Another great game. It's a category that I've put a little bit of time into running myself, but VB's definitely spent more time running it. If you enjoy the zips, stay tuned, because you're going to see a lot of zips in that run. And yeah, that's Aria. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much, Strizer. If I could ask you to stick around so that people can hear my voice through your stream, that would be great. I was going to ask you for the link to the Discord, but 404 Error has hooked us up with that. If you guys want to learn how to speedrun Area of Sorrow, there it is. Those guys will help you out. You're watching Handheld Heroes. It is a speedrun marathon of handheld games of all shapes and sizes. And we're going to be going pretty much the whole weekend. We're not quite in the middle of it yet, but we're getting there. And we're in the middle of a Castlevania block. We just finished Castlevania Area of Sorrow. Up next, we got Harmony of Dissonance. So we're going to be getting switched over to that in just a moment, so stay tuned.
I'm ready to go whenever. So.
Yeah, I think I've got you all set up here. So you are free to go, sir. Good luck, have fun.
Thank you. Ooh, I accidentally just... That shouldn't matter. I accidentally just resized the timer just a little.
Oh, I'll crop around it.
Okay, cool. Okay. I'll go in 3...